in the past years, ladies and gentlemen, and we do this every year, to say thank you, hakorat hatov, to express gratitude is a very, very important principle in the Torah. And once a year, Craney and I invite our supporters and our guests just to say thank you. And every year we try to have a representative or two from the community to share their feelings and thoughts about our Chabad and our community. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have two very special individuals, and I'm honored that they're here. We all heard the recent events. Words cannot describe how horrible the events in Las Vegas were. The shooting and the massacre of so many innocent individuals who've lost their lives, even scores of others who were injured, some very severely. And some of you may have heard our dear friend Natalie Grumet, who's here tonight, was one of the first victims of that massacre. And thank God, the grace of God, she survived and has experienced miracles in the mercy of Hashem, who was definitely there with her tonight, together with your many guardian angels. And Natalie is here together with Jason. And as a short introduction, we all know and hear about the evil, but sometimes what gets lost is the overwhelming kindness and goodness of average Americans who stand up during these moments of crisis, lend a hand to total strangers. Craney and I had the privilege of sitting with Natalie and Jason about a month ago in our home, and the stories that we heard of kindness and goodness was overwhelming. Zeh le'umah zeh, God creates a balance, and there is a lot more goodness than there is evil, and eventually when that scale is tipped, that will usher in the era of Mashiach. Without further ado, I'd like to call up Natalie and Jason up here on the stage. I'm sorry? No. Why? No. We're going to share with us their experience and their feelings about the friends, and particularly our community, during this moment of crisis. Please.
Good evening, everyone. Rabbi Mendy's public speaking act is a tough act to follow. Hopefully I get our message across. Like I said, I'm Jason Grumet. This is my wife, Natalie. It's an honor to be here. We're honored that Rabbi Mendy gave us the opportunity to speak to everybody, mainly to express our gratitude and appreciation, not only to Chabad, but to the entire Jewish community. Bear with me, this is the first time that I've spoke publicly about this. I thought it would be a lot easier than it actually is.
Someone asked you to speak a little bit louder.
Sure, okay. All right. Do you want me to start over, or am I good?
No, you're
okay. So as some of you know, and for those of you that don't know, Natalie was unfortunately probably one of the first to be shot during the Las Vegas massacre. She was shot in the left side of her face. Trying to be brief here, and Rabbi Mendy gave me about 10 minutes, and honestly I could probably talk for hours about this stuff. Natalie was in, I'll give you a little bit of brief background. Natalie was in the ICU for about 20 days. She was in the ICU in Las Vegas for about 4 days. And I have to say, I mean, while she was in the ICU, I was there with her. I was there all day. I was there most of the night, especially the first night. And immediately the outpouring from not only Chabad, and when I say Chabad, I mean this Chabad, Chabad's everywhere, the Jewish people, our family. Chabad and the Jewish community was there for us right off the bat. I mean, some of the first calls that I got some of the first calls that I received from people offering their assistance, any type of assistance, were actually people here in this room. I know Sam, left me a message right away. I wasn't able to take the call, but she left me a very heartfelt message, and it made me feel really good. Mark called me right away. The rabbi called me right away. A couple Chabad rabbis from Las Vegas showed up right away. A Chabad rabbi that I knew from downtown Los Angeles not only texted me right away, but called me right away. And that initial support, I can't even describe how grateful I am for it and how it made me feel. Obviously, at the time, Natalie was incapacitated. She was in for lack of a better term, like a medically induced coma. And it was extremely comforting to know that so many Jewish people were there for me. I mean, the Jewish people obviously hold a special place in my heart, and I don't even really have the words to describe how comforting it was. And it just brings like a sense of peace to the entire situation. Shortly after I spoke with Rabbi Mendy, I also spoke with another Chabad rabbi, and it seemed like almost immediately, but there were two Chabad rabbis that showed up at the hospital, and they came in the room and they talked with me. They said some prayers over Natalie. They spent some time with me and my family. And then once we flew Natalie home, she was flown home in an air ambulance, and almost immediately, I was in constant contact with Rabbi Mendy throughout the whole thing. But as soon as we got back, he came to the hospital. Me and Natalie, once she was able to leave, me and her met with Rabbi Mendy and Craney, and we also met with other people that attend this particular shul. And it was just, it's very comforting along the way to know that we have so much support. I would say the entire Jewish community really rallied around Natalie. At one time, we didn't know how much money we would need to fly Natalie home. And from my perspective, I think what really got Natalie's story out there to where people were able to support her and I was Rabbi Mendy had her story hit the Jewish airwaves and the Chabad airwaves, and right away, there was just a huge outpouring of support. Shortly after I spoke with Rabbi Mendy on one occasion, I got a call from a reporter in Miami, and I asked him, how did you hear about Natalie? How did you hear about our story? And he said, well, I heard it through the Jewish community. And come to find out, he attends a Chabad in Miami. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We received cards from people that go to Chabads in Wisconsin. I didn't even know there were that many of us out there. But okay, there. Maybe that's where it came from. Maybe that's where it came from. Natalie has about, half a dozen surgeries scheduled probably over the next 2 years, and it's a lot. It brings me great comfort. I know it brings Natalie a lot of comfort knowing that besides our family, we have our entire Jewish family to get through those times. And from the bottom of my heart, I'd just like to tell everybody that I appreciate the support, no matter what form it comes in. I genuinely, truly appreciate it. I wish I had the words to really say thank you and express how grateful I am for all of it.
I just want to follow up on what Jason said and thank everybody for their support, and Rabbi and Craney especially for inviting us to be a part of tonight. Like Jason said, that I was shot and I was conscious the whole time until they took me to the hospital, and when they had to ventilate me for airway support is when I finally lost consciousness. And I was definitely in and out of consciousness. I had 4 major surgeries within 20 days. So in that time span, it seemed like I was constantly either kind of coming out of sedation or a surgery. And there's a lot of days that are blurs or that I don't even recall. And of course, as much as I want to get better, my first concern is Jason, my husband, and how he's doing. Nobody should find their spouse in the condition that he found me that night. So to know that he had so much support from our community and our Chabad really did give me a lot of comfort as I got well. And he would tell me stories of, people that called him and reached out. And it really gave me, I know we said comfort a lot tonight for some reason, but it just seems to fit. It really gave me a sense of relief and peace in my heart to know that he was not alone, and that, we have a huge family and that extends into Chabad. And that was very comforting as I, was coming more and more to. Some of my first phone calls and texts, like Jason said, were from people in this room. From Sam was one of my first texts, and Helene, and Dominique's not here tonight. And one of our first outings really into somebody's home to talk was Rabbi and Craney's, and they just made us feel so comfortable and welcomed. So I just want to, really extend my gratitude to everybody here tonight. And I know some people have donated or sent me cards or said a prayer for me. And all of those things have been so appreciated and noted in my heart. And the next year and a half, 2 years, I'll be having major surgeries, and this will be a process. And like Jason said, knowing that we have our Jewish community and our Chabad here to support us along the way really gives us a sense of community and peace that we will get through this and we will be okay. And just coming in the room tonight, there was so much love. To come in this is one of the bigger groups I've been in since everything. So it was extremely comforting to be so well received and loved, and I appreciate you all. So thank you very much.